So I was talking to one of my girlfriends the other day, and she's around the same age as I am. And we were discussing what our fears were in life. And the topic of growing old alone came up. And I had to admit that that is one of the things that I probably fear the most about my future is growing old alone. You see, I never really planned on being alone this long. At the age of 54 years old, I just kind of figured when I was younger that it would be, white picket fence and enjoying my life with somebody. But unfortunately, it hasn't panned out that way. And I'm curious to know how many of you are also concerned about growing old alone. I know that it can be a very stressful thought for a lot of women, not only because, growing old alone, what if you get sick? There's nobody there to take care of you. And if you're like me, I don't have any children, so I can't put that burden onto them. But also financial stability, because when there's two of you, then of course there is a little bit of backup. You can help each other out, and it just brings that sense of security that you're not doing it all on your own. And if something terrible should happen, some illness, that, you know, you have somebody there that is going to have your back. So I am curious to know how many of you are fearful or have thoughts about growing old alone, and, it strikes up a bit of stress in your life. So put it in the comments below, and I'd love to talk about that. I'm going to give you a little bit of my insight on how I am preparing and how I am coping emotionally with the thought of perhaps spending my life alone. And I know many of you watching this are going to think, "Oh my gosh, you're so young, no problem, you'll find somebody." Well, at the age of 54, what I can tell you is that at least in the area that I live in, there are not a lot of eligible bachelors, unfortunately. And picking up one's life and moving to unknown destination for the sole purpose of trying to find a partner um, isn't always feasible. And it's sort of like throwing spaghetti at a wall, right? You hope some of it sticks, and more than likely most of it's going to fall off. So if anybody has any ideas out there, then yeah, just feel free to pop them in my DM. Anyway, so how am I preparing? Well, first of all, I am setting up a large network of people that I can continue to connect with. I have found a group of women that I'm very close with. Some of them are the same age as me, and they are also single, which really does give me a sense of support because we can lean on each other as the years go by. Also, it's really important that you keep yourself healthy. I know a lot of people underestimate the power of having a healthy body, not only a healthy body, but a healthy mindset. And when you have a healthy body, the likelihood of disease is less. And when you have a healthy mind, the likelihood of you being able to handle any problems or speed bumps that come up is much better as well. So being healthy overall is kind of one of the tools that I have in my toolbox to ensure that as I age, I will be able to handle whatever the universe decides to throw at me. Other than that, having your financial house in order is very important. And I must admit, I have been self-employed and an entrepreneur my entire life. And that has been an ebb and flow situation. I've gone from zero to hero and back down to zero and then climbing my way back up again. And that is also a very scary prospect, to think that perhaps once I hit the next 10 years of my life, I might sink back down to zero, right? So that is also a very huge, very big stress, is the finances. But keeping focus on Making sure that your financial house is in order is one way of ensuring that at least your years as an older person, they won't be destitute, and you won't be left scrambling and not being able to get medical help or care if you should need it. So I am just so curious to know what you guys think about growing older alone, man or woman, it doesn't matter. Feel free to drop them in the comments below. And yeah, I'd love to continue this conversation on. I think it's very interesting, and I think a lot of people, especially in the time that we're in right now, are probably thinking something along those lines, especially if you're over 50. Okay, until next time, we'll talk to you soon.